This week we're hiking at Donald Park. This is one of my favorite parks to backpack at for training. There's just so many different things that you can see, so many different terrains, so many different biomes. It's going to be a good week. So I want to talk a little bit about equipment. There's a certain amount of equipment that the crew can provide, crew gear, but there's a certain amount that everybody has to provide for themselves. The most obvious things are your clothing and your sleeping gear and things like that. But today we're going to talk about clothing a little bit. And so let's start from the feet up. All right, hiking boots. Hiking boots. This is not the place to save money. I'm not saying go out and spend $1 million on a pair of shoes, but I've hiked in bad boots before, or ones that I thought I want to save a few bucks on, and I regretted it. And so these are some Vask boots that I had previously. They're to the point where I have purchased another set of boots that I'm wearing right now, which I'll show you in a little bit. But just a good solid boot, so that when you're on trails where you're walking and there's rocks, you don't feel the rocks through your sole of your shoe. It's extremely uncomfortable. It'll give you some pains in your feet and your back and things like that. So boots are very important. I would recommend going to a place that does a good job of not trying to sell you something, but tries to put you in the right boot. Inside your boots, you've got socks. And socks, there's a couple of ways to go. I'm a very big proponent of the 2-sock system, which means having a liner sock. So these are like polyester. These are Wigwam brand. I found these are really good socks. But this is a good inner layer. And then I've got some other socks here. These are Darn Tough socks is the brand name. They're a little bit extra padding in the foot. But what I found with the 2-sock system is that it works really well for me. I rarely have blisters, occasional hot spots, but I really don't have too many problems with it. And so I recommend that. The other option is there is a 1-sock system, and they're like these. They've actually got liners on the inside. The disadvantage that I find is there's not as much padding. I'm sure that you could probably get some with more padding, but I've just kind of gone with what's worked well, is tried and true. That's the 2-sock system, and that's worked really well for me. Here's another pair of hiking socks. This was part of a 2-sock system, but I also take these along. I can wear these as my camp socks. And so you're going to want, I didn't bring my camp shoes. I'll show those on another time. But you're going to want a pair of socks that you can just wear around camp. Because when you get to camp, the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take off your boots and get your feet, into something else, because your feet are going to be pretty uncomfortable after that length of time in your boots. There's some great uphill and downhills in the park.
Brakes, nothing like them.
Hopefully we'll see a lot of streams like this where we can pump our water out of on the trip. It's just some nice, gentle, sloping trails. And lots of wildlife. So here's a close-up of the boot that I have now. This one is actually even a little bit more water resistant than the other pair of boots that I have in the background over there. I just found this is also a Vask boot, and it's been a real good boot for me. It's comfortable. I do have an insole in there that I put in that helps a lot, but it's been a good boot. You'll also notice that both sets of boots are high top boots. I am not a fan of low top or low cut boots for hiking. I've turned my ankle too many times, and I've seen other people turn their ankle too many times too. So I can't recommend a high top boot strongly enough to protect your ankles, because there again, if something happens to a foot or an ankle on the trip, you're just done. Or as I found out 2 years ago, your quad tendon, which is this big tendon right here. But you got to protect your feet, and you got to do it well. So this high top boots, I find, are, once you're out on the trail, they're just as comfortable as a low top. Some people think you got more flexibility, and you do, but it's also going to be easier to roll your ankles. And so, like I said, I firmly believe that high top boots are the way to go. Hey there. As you can tell from some of the earlier video, we're starting to get into that point of the year where we can actually get our packs out and start testing those out. And so even though this pack looks full, it probably weighs less than 10 pounds. I've got an old sleeping bag in here. For the first hikes, you want to start with low weight and work yourself up. And so what I'm trying to do now is just get used to the feel of the pack again. And so, just put this on. So tonight we did like 3 3/4 miles, and having 10 pounds in your back doesn't seem like a lot, but again, it gives you the feel of what the straps feel like around your waist, on your shoulders, just kind of how your weight shifts a little bit. Again, it's not like a huge amount, but it's good to start out at this weight. And so we'll stay at this for a couple of hikes, then we'll move up 5 pounds, move up 5 pounds more, to the point where, maybe within a couple of weeks we'll be at 50% of our max weight. And we'll talk about how to calculate that. But eventually work up to the point where we come out on these hikes, we're carrying, 35, 40, 45, maybe even 50 pounds, depending on who we are. Just because, I'm as big as I am doesn't mean I'm going to carry a third of my body weight, but that's the maximum I could carry. A quarter is even pushing it, because, I'm not getting any younger, that's for sure. But anyway, we're just gonna, we'll work with you guys on that, and you'll see us in packs more. If you have questions about that, we'll certainly be working with you to get those answered and to just, get everybody outfitted to the best possible way so you can have the best possible experience. We'll see you on the trail. I'm thinking that a scent meter is off and taking into account the swinging of my arm. But that 2 3/4 miles is looking pretty good. I'm pleased with that.
Mana do 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 do. Mana do 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 do. Mana do 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 do.
Music on the trail, not just for the birds.